If you're planning a trip to Croatia, but not sure where to begin when it comes to picking the things that you'd like to see and do while you're there, let me give you a little help. In today's video, I'm gonna be sharing my top 10 things that you need to see in Croatia. Hey guys, it's Allie, and on my channel, I help overpacking, luxury-loving, independent women turn their bucket list travel dreams into reality. Today's episode is actually part 2 of my Croatia series, so if you haven't checked out part 1 just yet, where I go in depth on everything you need to know before you go to Croatia, make sure that you check that out. I'm gonna link it up here and also down below. Cool? So in this video, I'll be taking you to secret blue water caves, Game of Thrones filming locations, and cliffside bars where you can watch brave souls swan dive into the Adriatic Sea. Sounds pretty cool, right? Yeah. So my goal with my Abroad at Home bucket list video series is really to just get you inspired and give you all the info that you need to start dreaming of and planning for your next great escape once it is safe to do so, of course. Now, if you haven't already, make sure that you're subscribed and you hit that little bell button to get a notification when a new video is released. And if you're new here, why don't you introduce yourself in the comments below? Cool? Ooh, and one last little bitty announcement before we dive on in. I'm gonna be launching mother-daughter group travel trips later this year in collaboration with my mom's travel agency, Scorby Travel and Cruise. So if you want to stay in the loop on future trips for both mother-daughter and gal pals, find out where we're going and get your name on the list. I'm gonna drop the link to sign up in the description below. Coming in at number 10 is Diocletian's Palace in Split, Croatia's second largest city. This Roman palace dates back to the 4th century and was built as a military fortress, fortified town, and imperial residence. But don't expect a palace similar to the ones that we visited in my India series. Honestly, far from it. Nowadays, what you'll find is this labyrinth of streets, which is home to trendy shops, restaurants, and cafes, all within its medieval walls. This is primarily where you'll probably find yourself spending a lot of your time while you're in Split. So make sure to pop into some local restaurants to try some fresh seafood, and also be sure to, of course, sample some local Croatian wine before doing a bit of shopping, of course. And if you're not afraid of heights, I definitely recommend climbing up the bell tower for some chef's kiss fantastic views of the city. Number 9, explore the teeny island of Vis. Now, Vis was actually one of my absolute favorite islands in Croatia because of its laid-back atmosphere, charming small towns, and beautiful scenery. This tiny island is much quieter when compared to its beach club-laden neighbor to the east, Hvar, which I always mispronounce. I'm working on it. Vis gives me major Greece vibes, which honestly makes sense because this is the location where Mamma Mia 2 was filmed. Little fun fact for you there. Now, miraculously, this island has managed to stay pretty under the radar, which is a breath of fresh air if you're hoping to escape the crowds in some of the more popular Croatia destinations. Now, because of its size, one of my favorite ways to spend a day here would be renting scooters and taking the 15-minute-ish drive from one side of the island to the other. It's absolutely stunning and a perfect way to spend the day. Also, be sure to fit in a wine tasting at the Lipanović winery, which I'm sure I'm saying wrong and I'll put the spelling down below, but it has some of the most unique tasting rooms, which are actually located in these old military tunnels that were blasted out after 1945. And of course, the wine is delicious as well. Next up, if you are a fan of the little-known series Game of Thrones, have you guys heard of that? Yeah, you've got to book yourself a tour when you are in Dubrovnik. So this city is often referred to as King's Landing because it was the main filming location for those Game of Thrones scenes. And it's honestly hard to walk through the ancient walled city without stumbling upon some sort of filming location. I mean, literally they are everywhere. I actually booked my tour through Game of Thrones Tour Dubrovnik, and what I loved most about this particular company is that all of their guides were actually extras in the series. Now, our guide Vito actually played one of Cersei's guards and had tons of great stories to tell during the entire tour. You'll visit iconic locations like the steps from Cersei's Walk of Shame, which I tried to recreate. Just kidding. And of course the spot where Marcella is sent off to Dorne. And as I'm listing these different sites, am I like getting too nerdy, too in depth? Can you tell I'm a huge fan? Anyways, fans will appreciate it. We will move on. You also have the option to extend your tour to visit the island of Lokrum, which is only just a short boat ride from the old town where many of the Karth scenes were shot. And I say it's definitely worth it to extend because in general, the island is super tropical and beautiful and just a great place to spend your day. Okay, I feel like I have to balance out my Game of Thrones nerding out, and it only feels right that the next suggestion is dedicated to the party island of Hvar. I'm gonna work on it. Anyways, this is without a doubt one of the most infamous places to party in Croatia. Clubs in the area stay open until 5 a.m., which I am proud to say I know firsthand. Yes, sometimes I am not a grandma. And there is certainly no shortage of places to party your pants off for a night or a few. If you're looking for a great spot for a little day drinking and a dip into the crystal clear waters, then you gotta check out Laganini Lounge Bar and Fish House, which is actually on Palmisana Island, which is just a short boat ride away from Hvar. Now, there's also nothing that compares to catching the sunset at Hula Hula Beach Bar. And this is sort of like a Bali meets Adriatic style bar that is comparatively pretty chill when you compare it to the other clubs and bars on Hvar. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum is Carpe Diem, which is truly an institution on the island that's been around since the 90s. Champagne showers are plentiful, and just be prepared to leave your dignity at the door. And if you just can't get enough and you want to party even more and even longer, you gotta check out their after party location, Carpe Diem Beach, which is on an island that's about a 10-minute boat ride away from Hvar. Also extremely epic, definitely worth it. But if you are looking for a little hole in the wall spot away from the yachting crowds and filled, generally speaking, with locals, then you have to check out the itty bitty Kiva bar, which is tucked away in an alley. I have zero video footage from this bar aside from just vivid memories of being packed in like sardines and furiously jumping up and down to the beat of the music. It was an iconic experience to say the least. And I'm just wondering when, again, we will be able to be packed into bars like sardines. Hopefully soon. Vaccine summer. Am I right? Who knows? If you are looking to capture those quintessentially Croatian shots of the terracotta red roofs set against the backdrop of the Adriatic, then you, my friend, have got to walk the city walls in Dubrovnik. Now, admittedly, this is a pretty touristy activity to suggest, but well worth wading through the crowds of fanny packing toting tourists to glimpse these stunning views. Dubrovnik's old town is encircled by this medieval wall, which was actually completed in the 16th century. A ticket to the top will cost you around $30 and should take you about 2 hours to walk the length of the walls, depending on how often you're stopping to take photos, of course. Hot tip for you, get up early to walk the walls. Like, I'm talking 8:30 if you can manage it, so that you can both beat the crowds and the heat, because not a lot of shade up there. We are about halfway through my recs at this point, and I'm curious, what are your must-see sites in Croatia? Let me know in the comments below. Cool. So coming in at spot number 5 is a visit to the medieval town of Trogir. Honestly, all these towns are medieval, but not all of them are UNESCO World Heritage Sites like Trogir, which actually earned its status for its Romanesque and Renaissance architecture. It is gorgeous there. And you really only need about a day to sort of wind your way through the cobblestone streets, stopping at seaside cafes and sampling local wines and olives. Mwah! While there are many quintessential must-visit sites that should be on your Croatian hit list, by far, one of the most unique and enchanting would be the Blue Cave, which is located off the island of Vis on the sparsely populated island of Bisevo. Now, what makes this cave so special is that between 11 a.m. and noon in the summertime, this crazy natural phenomenon occurs. Just as the sun is reaching its peak, the cave is lit up in this crazy bright blue light. Now, when we were there, it was a bit too early to see that, but nonetheless, it was still so cool to see the glowing electric blue water. Now, to get here, it's about an hour's sail away from the town of Komiža on Vis, or you can take a speedboat like we did to cut down on sailing time. Entering the caves, you can only go one rowboat at a time, and everyone in the boat has to lie flat because the opening is so small. It's really quite epic and something I definitely think that you should go out of your way to experience. Buza Bar in Dubrovnik is probably one of the coolest bars I've hung out at. But if you're thinking that this is like a swanky rooftop bar, think again. This hole-in-the-wall bar is quite literally just that. So Buza literally translates to hole in the wall. And to get there, you actually have to walk through a hole in the medieval walls to get to the bar that is built into the side of the cliffs in Dubrovnik. What? This is honestly one of the most popular places to watch the sunset. But if you come here during the day, this is also where you can watch brave souls like yours truly jump off cliffs. I'm honestly really not sure where I plucked up the courage to do this, but I have lived to tell the tale, and really, that's all that matters. Finding Buza Bar can sometimes be a bit tricky even when you have the address, but I kind of almost feel like the journey to finding this magical spot is an essential part of the overall experience. So just keep that in mind and have a little sense of adventure. And also maybe a map would be helpful. It kind of goes without saying, but Croatia is a sailing paradise. So whether you're going balls to the walls on Yacht Week, living on your own private yacht, or merely booking a day tour, you cannot leave Croatia without sailing the Adriatic and swimming in the crystal clear water. The options are honestly endless when it comes to how you want to experience the sea, but no matter what floats your boat, see what I did there? Just make sure you dive into, and I mean this literally, the Adriatic. Just getting a little punny with you guys, you know? Just keeping it light and fun. My hands down #1 favorite moment from my trip to Croatia was watching the sunset while eating some of the most delicious seafood at Panorama Restaurant in Dubrovnik. Like, look at this. Without a doubt, this is one of the most popular and I'll admit touristy restaurants in the city, but honestly for good reason. There is nothing that beats these views. I mean, come on. So how you get here is you'll take a cable car up to the top of Surd Hill for about 23-ish bucks round trip. Once at the top, you'll find Panorama Restaurant and all of these spectacular views. You absolutely must make a reservation well in advance because they book up quick, especially if you're trying to snag a coveted time right around sunset. But let me tell you that it is 1000% worth jumping through all the hoops to make this happen. Now, I have a little bonus reco for all of you who stuck around to the end, and that is to visit the Plitvice Lakes. Sadly, I did not make it here myself, but I am dying to visit because everyone raves about how stunning and beautiful they are. It's basically these 16 lakes that are all connected via a series of waterfalls and surrounded by forest. They sound beautiful, and if you can fit them into your trip, I absolutely would. Okay, I gotta know, which of these things are you dying to do when you visit Croatia? Honestly, I'd go back and do it all over again, and maybe I should organize a Gals Abroad group trip there. Speaking of, just in case you missed it at the beginning, I'm launching mother-daughter and gal pal group trips later this year, so if you want to be the first to know when those launch, you can click the link in the description of this video to get your name on that list. I'm so excited! I hope this video inspires you to add Croatia to your travel bucket list and helps you, narrow down the things that you'd like to see and do during your visit. That's really the whole point of why I'm making all these videos. And if you want to keep learning about some of my favorite bucket list destinations, make sure that you are subscribed to my channel and you hit that bell so you don't miss where we are traveling to next. I can't wait to share more. Woo! Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you need even more travel inspo on where you want to travel next or maybe how to start your bucket list, I'm gonna drop some videos that I think you might like right here. Cool? I hope that's awesome. Until next time, remember, adventure awaits, and I'll see you guys in another video. Mwah!